Hi, I'm Sean Clark, and I collect movie props from my favorite films. Horror, comedy, romance, whatever tickles my fancy. A lot of creature stuff, a lot of monster stuff, a lot of gory stuff, a lot of fun stuff. Because if it isn't fun, then what the are you doing collecting it? I began collecting probably by accident. I mean, I just started buying things and then keeping them. I've always been very mindful of the value of something. Somebody would go, just trash that, and be like, no, that could be worth something later, or somebody might want that. Back in the day, when they would wrap on certain movies, they would throw away in the dumpsters. I mean, they would just trash stuff. Nowadays, it's getting crazy, especially since the auction house Profiles in History had a show called Hollywood Treasures, which basically they would track down something and they would follow it all the way through to auction and what it sold for and everything. They'll hoard all the stuff. They'll have one of these places do the auctions for them and make a killing. And that show really put a focus on the value of things and made people realize what this stuff is worth. On the new Star Wars films, they microchip every prop, every gun, every helmet. They put microchips in the plastic, embedded, so they can track them. That's how crazy this stuff has gotten, because they know the value of these things.
This is used specifically in the scene where Vader's holding it, Luke chops off his hand, and it flies out of his hand.
What they can sell in props on some of these films, they probably get their budget back, it's nuts.
You have all the components of a $500,000 X-Wing for $60,000.
$5 piece of plastic, some jerk like me will pay 50 grand for. We're stupid. That's one thing about us, is we're really stupid, us collectors. I obtained a prop recently, chainsaw from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. It just doesn't fit in any of the cases I have, so I need to have something custom made for it, and I want to be able to lay it down. So I'm going to want to have something built that's a stand of some sort and plexiglass case around it. I mean, it's a chainsaw. It's going to stay a chainsaw forever. It's a pretty heavy-duty piece of equipment, but I'm going to keep the dust off it. I want Leatherface's DNA to stay on it, So right here is the chainsaw from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. You can see right here, autographed by Bob Elmore. I don't like to get props signed, but the guy came to my house, verified it was legit. So I had him sign the bottom. Mind you, this is on plastic. It's just a Sharpie. Take a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It'd come right off if I wanted to remove it. But I don't, because Bob's the man and it's mine. Poor Bob had to lug this thing around for a long time. And when you guys actually hold this thing, you're gonna be like,
but we're running real chainsaws with real blades, and it weighed about 75 pounds. It was the biggest chainsaw they made at that time.
So Horror's Hallowed Grounds started as another thing that just kind of happened by accident. Hi, I'm Sean Clark. Today I'm standing in front of the Cut Right Chainsaw store from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Welcome to Horror's Hallowed Grounds. I was working, I think, at Horror Channel at the time with Uncle Creepy, Steve Barton. I said, look, I have this idea where I'm gonna go back to original filming locations. We could do an article, online article, showing it then and now. I'll talk about where they're at and all this stuff. And he loved it, so we started doing it as an online article. So the next thing that happened was I was working on 25 Years of Terror, the documentary. And I was at Malika Codd's office and we were discussing bonus features. And he said, we need more stuff. We need extras. I said, well, I got this article I do online that's starting to build a following. People seem to really like it. And I've had an idea to do it as a show. I'm now standing alongside Old Farm Road 969. This is where the chicken scene took place between the Yuppies and the Sawyer family, and we know that didn't end so well for the Yuppies. I've tried to get every iconic piece that I can. If you're a Halloween fan, you want a Myers mask. I've got several. If you're a Phantasm fan, you want a sphere. I have one. If you're a Freddy fan, you want a glove. I don't have a real one yet, got a replica. If you're a Jason fan, you need a hockey mask. I've got replicas, I don't have a real one. If you're a Hellraiser fan, you want a box, I have one. So if you're a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, you want a chainsaw, I got one. So I'm knocking a few off the list. I'm gonna get there. But you know, as a collector, you also have to be very mindful of fakes. And you know, fortunately, one thing that the online community has provided is people that will scrutinize every little bit, maybe to the point of being annoying. But there's enough connections out there with people online and whatnot that you can verify if something's legit or not. And there's been lots of people that have been busted for, you know, trying to pass things off that weren't real. I had a lot of people scrutinize the chainsaw at first when I got it because the blade wasn't matching up with the screen. It wasn't, they're like, this isn't right, this isn't matching up. Till I got it home, took it off and flipped it and put it back on because apparently at some point somebody had taken it off and put it back on backwards. Once I put it back right, look on screen, everything matched perfect. And I posted the pictures, had Bob Elmore himself, who played Leatherface in most of part 2, all the actual Saw work was Bob Elmore, came over to my house and verified it, looked at it and said, absolutely, this is 100% the real thing. Everybody shut up. Do you hear that? It's the haters. I don't hear them anymore. There's so much stuff out there we don't know if it still exists. We don't know where it is. We don't know who has it. Does it still exist? Does it not? We're always going to be in search of those holy grails. You know, will we ever find them? Who knows? That hunt is always going to be in you. So the collection is never going to be complete. The only time the collection is complete is when you give up and you stop collecting. That's usually when you go broke.